And so with that said, I can think of no other way to begin this than to start with our phenomenal partner, Madeline Di Nonno, from the Geena Davis Institute. Good morning, Madeline. I'm really happy to have you here with me for this today, as you know. I'm going to briefly introduce you, and then I wanted to ask you some questions because I'd love to really help folks frame this. The Geena Davis Institute does a great job around the seeing and the being, and really this idea of becoming. And so I just wanted to take a moment, introduce you. I apologize for any background noise. We have some things going on outside, so I'll be muting myself throughout the day, but just wanted to do that. So Madeline is the president and CEO of the Geena Davis Institute on Gender and Media, the only global research-driven organization working within entertainment and media industries to create gender balance, foster inclusion, and reduce negative stereotyping. She is an accomplished television producer and executive, and in the past, she served in executive leadership positions for Hallmark Channel, Universal Studios Home Entertainment, and Nielsen Entertainment. And currently, in addition to her role at the Institute, she is a U.S. State Department speaker specialist and often presents at global events at Cannes Lions, which I believe you just did, the White House, and the United Nations. She's an executive producer with credits like the Emmy-nominated People's Choice and Gracie Award-winning television series Mission Unstoppable, going into season 4, and the Gracie Award-winning feature film This Changes Everything. She's an appointed arts commissioner of the Los Angeles County Arts Department, and she serves on the board of directors for the Television Academy Foundation. So needless to say, you are in it, you're in the trenches, you get this world. So we are happy to have you here for this conversation about becoming better in our industry. Welcome, Madeline.
Well, it's a privilege to be here, and I'm actually coming to you live from the Bentonville Film Festival.
Yes.
Geena's Film Festival out in Arkansas. And I just want to say, for any of you that haven't heard about it, we've been around for 8 years, and we have a great film competition, script competition. And the whole purpose of the festival is to celebrate women in diversity. So if you haven't heard about it, please consider submitting your film, your script, take a look at it. Bentonville Film Foundation, .org. And maybe we'll see you all here next year.
That sounds wonderful. Listen, maybe we'll stream from there next year, right? Who knows?
That's right.
That would be wonderful. So tell me a little bit about the Institute, because I know the festival has this focus in terms of those who are creating. And the Institute really looks at this focus with regard to representation. Tell me a little bit about the sort of the origins of the Institute and how you sort of got into that frame of work.
Absolutely. So for those of you who may not be familiar with us, the Institute was started as an accident, actually, by my boss, who's 2-time Academy Award winner, actor Geena Davis, which you may know her, depending on how old you are, from watching Stuart Little or League of Their Own, which is celebrating their 30th anniversary come July 1. Thelma and Louise, she played the first president ever on TV and commander-in-chief. And it was through her iconic roles that she learned, how do women and girls feel when they see me in these roles? And so with that heightened awareness, when she started having her own family and her daughter was a toddler, like any parent, she started showing her kid preschool shows, and it struck her immediately that there was little to no female presence. And where there was a female character, they were marginalized, or they were just full of sparkles and pink and fluffy and really didn't contribute. And she thought, wow, this is 21st century. What's the message that we're sending to our children, boys and girls? We're saying that girls aren't worthy to take up enough space, and forget about diversity, right? But don't even start to get into that. And she decided to take a data approach, because she would turn to, like her friends like you and say, hey, did you notice that there was no female character? And her friends would say, man, I didn't really notice. And then when she'd meet with executive, she's like, hey, did you know there just wasn't a lot of female? No, we fixed it. We have this character, that character. And they were naming the only female character in the entire movie or TV show, thinking that they had it fixed. And back in 2004, if you were to ask someone what their definition of diversity was, because people only used the word diversity, there was no equity, there was no inclusion, no belonging, any of that. Gender was not on the agenda. And so she decided to take a statistical approach because she just wanted to know if she was right. And that's how the whole thing happened, because she wanted the data. And what we found, this is going back then, that it was a 3-to-1 ratio of male characters to female characters. It was about a 5-to-1 ratio in terms of background characters and so on. And because she's an actor, she needs to work, right? We all want to work. She wanted to be an advocate and wanted to be very collegial and not, there's a lot of different ways to approach advocacy, right? You all have to figure out.
Exactly.
And we, because we're all in the industry, we wanted the industry to take the initiative and fix themselves versus saying, consumers, storm the gates. Yes. So that's kind of how things, that's how the whole thing got started.
So talk to me a bit more about that process of representation and what it means to see yourself and what that looks like in regard to the aspiration to become, because it was so important because there was a connection that was kind of made there. I know you're all taking the data approach, but what is, what's kind of the process or the call to action when you say, see it and then be it? Because I think you all have really, and for those of you that don't know, that is the mantra of the Geena Davis Institute, is see it, be it. You all do such a great job of that and really pushing that. What does that process look like? Because I think that's where we're talking about the industry fixing itself in the being and becoming process.
So there's a few ways to look at it. Is how do industry people and people who are writing and producing think about characters, and then what's the impact of those characters on consumers, right? So honestly, it was really unconscious bias. We all have unconscious bias. And until we started pointing it out, people just didn't realize what they were doing. And so we provide different kind of solutions. Not only do we measure the industry, but we also we have Spell Check for Bias, which is a script-based research tool that helps break down a script, look at the characters, look at, are they named? Are they described? If they're not, that could be opportunities. It'll flag tropes and stereotypes. And it's a way for those people that are doing coverage or that are charged with looking at diversity, equity, inclusion in the material, that they can do it in the beginning. So it's intervention, because as you all know, it's easier to fix things on the front end than on the back end, right? After you do that test screening and people are like, ah! So that's one way that we do it. And it's been very, very constructive. One of our partners that I'd love to give a shout out is NBC Universal, who's been working with us. They've been helping us develop the tool for Latinx characters, for BIPOC characters, and they've changed about 20% of their scripts because of this type of process, as you were saying. The other thing to think about is, well, what's the impact on people? And I'll give you just one example. So we did a survey of a few thousand people in the US and the UK, and we asked them, what has been the impact of you watching a fictional character in TV and film? And this was across 9 countries. It was about 10,000 women. And they said, well, 25% of them left an abusive relationship because of a make-believe character they saw in TV and film. So that's just one point to drive home. It's not just entertainment. It's not just make-believe. What you all are doing can really change lives in a very positive way.
No, and I think that's a beautiful place to really end, and a beautiful point, because so often there is a disconnect between this idea of what we do and the impact it has, and so it often gets diminished and it becomes very diminutive. We say, well, it's art, it's, but not realizing that there is such a social impact, because there's such a visceral response to really observing, almost like a voyeur, observing someone else's life and then making that connection to your own. And I think that's a beautiful way to really kind of connect seeing and being, that journey to becoming, not only how we become better in our industry, but better in society, because of what we're seeing and how we're connecting to it. So thank you so very much for being with us, for setting this tone. And I always love to have you. So I I can't wait to have you back to join us for something else. And yeah, so I'm now going to turn it over to our first session of the day, where we're actually going to be talking about exactly that. We're going to be talking about, what does it mean to look at what we do not only as art, but to see it as work and to see it for the impact that it has. So thank you, Madeline, for joining
Thank
us
you, everybody.
here, and can't wait to see you again.
Okay, bye.